Hey guys, GWS here. Um, Here to conclude on another aspect of the Nazi left wing. This is going to be episode 3. This is going to deal with a different community this time. Where we went away from the David Packman because um, that's already been proven that they are a Nazi aspect of the left wing. This is a settled issue. I both showed their Reddit and I spoke about their Discord. And by the way, the reason I can't show the Discord is because there's personal information about people, including myself, and that's not going to be a part of my videos. So if anyone was wondering about that, that's why the Discord stuff isn't being shown. Um, so you could take my word for it or not, but either way, this is the Reddit. Um, and this is a smaller Reddit, so there's not as many posts. But I'm sure if I put in something like, well, let's look at these. This is the anti-Israel stuff, right? Israel and the death toll protesters. Israel, um, and it's in a quote. We can verify whether this is going to. Yeah, see, this is about apparently a Prager University thing, and as you can see, the one person agrees, and there's only 2 comments though. Where's the second comment? Oh, here's more comments. Yeah, and of course this is in quotations, so apparently this is a negative video. Anti-BDS pro-Israel group has infiltrated the British Labour Party! Exclamation point. Calls for alarm, right? You can't have the pro-Israel groups. After Six-Day War, Israel censored textbooks and newspapers and tried to silence, I don't even know how to pronounce that, correspondent. Um, call that ignorance or whatever. And here's an interesting one: anti-Semitic views from the left wing. You think, okay, this is finally a pro-Israel thing, right? It's from me. Like the only one is from me, Granite Hope. That's my Reddit username. And then there's Free Jerusalem. Now this is more of a neutral one. If you read this, it's actually the best one out of either one. And yeah, I accidentally clicked back. Stupid mouse. Okay, but now if you go to something like, if you go to Zionism, like if you go to Zionist, here's one. Like this is small Reddit, but if you like search various phrases, and of course if you go Palestine, Palestinian, you'll get a couple. Well, you'll get this one right here. It's like I said, this is a very small Reddit in itself, so not as many posts as David Packman, but still, um, like nothing against Palestinians. But of course, as we also saw from the Pew data that we did in episode 2, we already know the left wing, purely the Bernie side of the left wing, the liberal Democrats, the most liberal, the left leaning of the Democrats, are the ones who are against Israel. Just keep that in mind. So we have anecdotal data, we have samples of Reddit posts. We have anecdotal data from the Discords itself, and um, now I got more data to report from my undercover visiting of the Discord servers. Now my name was just banned again, so naturally, when people get offended, the moderators, they gotta go on their little power trip, and so they ban. But before the ban happened, I was able to get a lot of information. I actually have a recording too. I don't think I could post it because there's too much personal stuff in it. But at a later date, maybe I'll do this for episode 4. I'll try to redact some of the personal stuff, and we'll go into the belly of this Discord. And let me just tell you, this is the most anti-Semitic I've seen it. This makes David Pakman look um, like like a hyper Zionist protester. I mean, this is bad. Like, people are calling Israel like genocide artists. They're saying like Israel has no right to exist, and the Palestinians have done nothing wrong, and the Palestinians are just these innocent little powerless people. Um, like every one of them too. Like every single person on that Discord. Um, everybody. Like you had on the David Pakman server, you had a couple users who are actually pro-Israel. Like on the Discord, I would say you could probably find 2, and if you included David Pakman himself, Makeup Man, that'd be 3 because David Pakman's one of the few on the left who gets it right. Now, of course, he's a Jew, so like a lot of that's just going to be a natural bias. Because if you listen to David Pakman, even listen to like his framing, like he's on a radio show, a right wing radio show. It was posted on his channel, like the full interview. Um, it's just interesting to hear David Pakman's perspective and his philosophy, and a lot of it is self benefiting. And see, this is what the left wing will do, and this is even how they approach the Israeli conflict is they will see they try to throw on the accusations, and then whenever you bring up the other side, like because there's 2 sides, there's the Israeli side and the Palestinian side. Like first of all, I'm not going to go to bat 100% on the, or even 50% on the Israeli response. It's been unacceptable. Like, there's a better way to respond to low level threats than lethal force. Like, you have to be smarter than that. There are smarter ways, and you can't just use lethal action merely as a deterrent. There's better ways to go about it. Like, it's almost like if they feel like they use the most radical force possible, that they're going to de-escalate the situation through fear. Don't come near our border. That's basically their idea. And see, I believe in Castle Doctrine. I believe that if you give sufficient warning of lethal force and people come to your border, you have the right to use lethal force, but it doesn't mean you should. And that's Israel's problem. Like, Israel, they live in a perpetual state of war partially because of their radical response. And on one hand, you could say it's merited, at least at one time it was, because there was a time when there wasn't anybody, not even the U.S., that was going to come to Israel's defense. Like when you had the 6-Day War, nobody from the West came to their defense. They had to, by themselves, defend themselves against, what was it, 6 Arab countries, all surrounding them. Yeah, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and I guess throw in the Palestinians there too. They all tried to gang up on Israel all at once, and Israel beats them all. Beats them all at the same time. And not only do they beat them all, but they occupy Sinai, they occupy much of West Bank, half of Jerusalem, before a peace deal was passed. And the one thing people never give credit to Israel for is when relations were normalized between the Israelis and the Egyptians, Israel gave back Sinai. Sinai was over half their land, keep in mind. Sinai is not a small peninsula. It was Sinai itself, I believe, is as large or slightly larger than Israel. It's not a small landmass. And they gave that land back to Egypt as part of permanent peace relations, and both sides have kept their word. So this is a sign that Israel, they want peace, but they go about it the wrong way. But then you got the anti-Semitic people, the people who are basically using fascist logic to marginalize the Jewish people, and they are preparing for justification of, if nothing else, being apathetic toward a Muslim takeover. Because this isn't just the goal. Like, once you give Palestine that state, um, without any guarantees of permanent peace with Israel, you are giving them a platform to set up all these relations with other nations, all the nations that have not recognized them, and you're going to give them power. And what are they going to do? Do you think they're just going to settle for half of Jerusalem? Do you think they're just going to settle for their little bitty strip in Gaza and West Bank? No. Like, that's not how they've operated. You look at the history of Arabic empires, they are always expansionist. That is what they do. And they can do it through military conquest. They've done it through diplomatic abuses. That's been throughout their whole history. Like, they've never seen a peace agreement that they haven't wanted to try to sneak their way out of and take advantage of that situation where another country believes that the Arabs, the Persians, will behave peacefully, and they don't. Time after time after time after time. You've had nations that have let their guard down and therefore have been invaded and subjugated. And yes, the Jewish people were subjugated by multiple Islamic caliphates. This is why they have a state. This is why they were guaranteed a state. And initially, it was supposed to be for them, but then the Palestinians, well, there was originally going to be a split between Arabic Israel and the Palestinian and the Jewish state. But the Palestinians started fighting, and Israel occupied their land. And like, you don't get peace through invasion, basically. And when the UN recognized Israel, they recognized the whole part as Israel. They didn't have it separated. But here's the thing: you have people in the secular talk Discord who are constantly, obsessively posting anti-Semitic comments about Jews, about Zionism, about Jews oppressing people, when that's not happening. You have a group of people here who are so extreme, who refuse to see reality, and who are on the Bernie Sanders side. And I know what I'm going to. Bernie Sanders is a Jew, right? Well, Bernie Sanders endorsed Keith Ellison. Keith Ellison, a Muslim American who is strongly against Israel. Imagine my shock, right? So you got somebody who's like you endorsed Keith Ellison for DNC, their leader or whatever that position is called. um, Game over. You're done. You're freaking. That's as anti-Semitic as you get. But anyhow, I just figured I ran on this, post a video, give some more evidence from the secular talk Reddit in itself, and yeah, we're not done, because part 4, hopefully, and I'm hoping I could do this with both Discords because I want to post the evidence of the anti-Semitism on the Discords because it's worse than what you get on here. Even on the David Pakman side, it is way worse. But it's like I said, there's just so much that has to be redacted, so much. There's got to be a lot of editing I have to do of various things to prevent the personal information, the less than colorful language used that would get censored by YouTube, the even posting pictures of nudity with the anti-Semitic comments. And so I'd have to filter those out. There's a lot of work I have to do before I could get something out there from the Discords. And I want to do that. I don't want people to just take my word for it, but I'm going to give you my word because it's important that it at least gets out there. And if you don't believe me, go to the Discord yourself and talk to them. Talk to them about the Israel Palestine conflict, and you yourself see where they lie. Are they on the Israeli side? Very flawed country, but excellent record on human rights, excellent record on democratic principles, on egalitarianism, providing far more equality than the United States, Europe, or modern Asian nations, easily. Or are they going to side with the Palestinian dictatorship, which has sends people to die with the purpose of dying, knowing that they're probably going to die, and executing gay people, persecuting women who try to have equal rights with men. Basically, you have a 10th century society in Palestine versus a 21st century society in Israel. You go to their chat and you see for yourselves where they belong. I'm going to post the Discord link periodically on Twitter just so you guys will be able to see for yourselves what it's like. And I'm even probably going to post their Discord link on my channel just so those of you who are subscribed to me can go there and you can see. Now, you got to be careful because they censor a lot of speech there, so just make sure you don't step on any toes because they're pretty ban happy there. But I encourage you to go there just to see their views, just to see how their views differ from the YouTube comment views, the Reddit views, and anything that I can show on here. So, like I said, I encourage everybody to go see for themselves. Don't just take my word for it. Go out, do the research. See for yourselves. Anyhow, that's the video. Thanks so much for listening, guys. God bless. And I'll be out with more videos very, very soon.